Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. Make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, do hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevate Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below, and also at the top of the chat. You can't miss it. Chat with other traders, chat with myself, share ideas, or look at what other people are looking to trade if you're interested. And of course, you can find out a lot more information about Elevating Traders if you are interested. So make sure you go check it out, guys. Link in the description at the bottom of the chat, at the top of the chat, sorry, or in the description below. But guys, welcome back to the stream. Hope everyone is well. What's up, Orion? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yes, we will go through some gold, no problemo. What's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. So yeah, guys, we'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY, go through some USD majors, and we'll take a look at gold and silver as well. If there's any particular crest that you want me to take a look at, let me know. Drop it in the chat. We'll discuss. Also, let me know the time frames as well. If there's a specific time frame which you want me to look at, let me know. But of course, by default, I'll be mostly in the 4-hour time frame. But of course, if there's any particular time frames, let me know. What's up, Dark Sean? Welcome to the stream. Gonna sell GJ this morning, 750. Okay. Look plus volume drastically. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well. Yesterday, bearish for DXY 4-hour. Yes, we have seen some more downsides for the dollar. What's up, Holy One? Hope you're doing good. Euro Aussie sell. Okay, we'll have a look at that one as well. I'm pretty bearish in Euro Aussie after the break of structure yesterday. Today might be bullish in the DXY until 107.35. Okay, let's go take a look at the dollar. So DXY, we have had a bit of a move to the downside yesterday, and it hasn't really gone too far. It was a very impulsive push, taking out these lows, but of course hasn't really amounted to anything crazy in terms of taking out some major structure on the left here, which is still really what I'm waiting for price to do in terms of my longer term buys for the dollar. If we are really going to shift direction completely, then I do need to see some lows taken out. It looks like we're heading in that direction. Of course, we haven't done that yet. We have been pretty consistent with the lower highs, so that is one thing to keep note of. And we have seen some nice momentum as well. Really strong drop a couple of weeks ago, had a bit of a correction, another strong drop, bit of a correction, another strong drop. So at the moment on the 4-hour chart, there's a lot of bearish structure. Now, I would still be bearish on the dollar. Looks like we're seeing some bullish momentum at the moment, but in terms of market structure, everything is still pointing down for me. So yeah, I'm still pretty bearish. In terms of opportunities, I was favoring a bigger pullback this week, which unfortunately didn't quite happen. Looking for a pullback into this kind of 107.6 to 108.4 area, kind of anywhere in there. I'll be looking for lower heights for a push down. Unfortunately, this week, price was just a little bit too bearish for me. We had a retest of that low and price was on its way. So in terms of the dollar, I'm still expecting more downside. As long as we maintain the bearish structure, I would anticipate further downside, possibly for price to come back and retest support down here at 105.6. I'm not really interested in the upside just yet. Maybe as we get close to the low, this low here, I might be interested in some buys. But for now, I'm still very much focused with the sells with the USD. There might be some short-term upside, but I'm more interested with the sells. CC Integrator, you said you're bullish for the DXY until 107.315. Where is that? 107.315. Okay, so that's somewhere in here. Otherwise, turn bearish if it doesn't reach 107.45, which is around there-ish, more or less coming back to retest the high. Yeah, I mean, we could anticipate some retracement, but I'm still very much focused in taking advantage of the sells for the dollar. So buys for a lot of the USD major pairs, which we'll get to in a second. My expectation is still very much with the sellers here. So of course there'll be retracement, but that's not really the trade I'm looking to take. Of course, in the lower time frames, there'll be different opportunities, but for myself, especially in the USD major pairs, which we'll get to in a second, I'm still very much looking for more downside as we maintain these lower highs. So as long as that stays true, stays intact, I would expect a pullback and some more follow through to the downside. So if you take a look at Euro USD, we had a bit of a push to the upside yesterday. Hasn't really taken out any structure yet. I don't know why I said yo. Hasn't taken any structure yet with Euro USD. We are still printing those higher lows, but price hasn't taken out any highs, and we have had a pretty aggressive 4-hour bearish candle there as well. So that is pretty interesting. I mean, altogether, Euro USD price action isn't great. It is very, very flat. But as I keep getting at, the market is starting to form this this bowl shape pattern, which from experience does have a pretty high win rate in terms of playing out. When price starts to slow down, creates lower lows, and then it starts to blend into some higher lows, we do tend to reverse and see some upside. So I'm actually expecting Euro USD to pretty much break the highs here and come back and test 1.06 all the way up there as well. So that's what I'm expecting Euro USD to do in the next few days. However, in terms of opportunities, I was looking for Euro to push a little bit further to the downside yesterday. This was the area I was looking at. Didn't quite happen. We still may go and see that move potentially. And I'm still going to be looking to buy Euro. My expectation is still looking for that high to be taken out. But of course, with the rejection this morning, I wouldn't be looking to jump into buys so quickly. So potentially might see another move down. That'll be great for me because I'm still looking at buys here. I thought price was going to leave me in the dust, and it still may do that. But if we can come back down again, that could present a nice opportunity to long, perhaps sometime next week. So Euro USD, my expectation is still more upside. We haven't taken out the highs here, whereas dollar, we did actually take out the lows. So that's a bit more of a that's a bit of a conundrum there for Euro USD. If we took out the highs, then again we're looking for another pullback because we haven't taken out the highs. I would wait for a slightly deeper correction, and still looking for that next higher low around the 1.036 area. So that's still very much the plan. In terms of pound USD, that was very strong yesterday. Very big push to the upside. Well, I say very big. It wasn't that big, but it was a nice move to the upside, breaking out that consolidation. The plan for pound USD has been the same since the start of the week. Still looking for the retest of 1.25. Really nice level of price support once, twice, and resistance as well, once and twice over there as well. So the plan this week was for looking for that correction for pound USD back into this area for the next higher low and more upside. And that still very much is the plan. You can see how price is moving 1, 2, 3, looking for the fourth bounce for a continuation. That's still very much the plan there with pound USD. However, it's a game of patience. Price is nowhere near that area just yet, but that is really where my focus is for pound USD at the moment. Really solid level of support and resistance, nice trendline confluence. It's just waiting to see if price can actually get there for a retest. And we're coming from a nice area in the daily chart as well. As I hinted at yesterday, we're coming from a very strong low, which gave us this really big push to the upside, taking out these highs. So that indicates that the market is still very much in this bullish daily structure, and we're still respecting that low. So that might be an indication that we could go to the upside a lot further if we respect this low, which of course price is doing exactly that. So pretty bullish on pound USD for now. Still keeping a close eye on 1.25, but yeah, not trading it there at that level just yet. So on the sidelines of pound USD, dollar CAD looking for more downside for this one. Didn't quite make the retest of that consolidation this week, so very much still left hanging there for dollar CAD. In terms of the buys, still very, very bearish. We've had a lovely bullish trend, but I am looking at this kind of price action as the top to that. Lovely consolidation, big kind of fake to the upside, and now we're seeing some follow through to the downside. So in my book, I'm looking for a lot more downside for dollar CAD, and a retest of that range at 1.43 would be nice for entries. Of course, not quite there yet. Still, hopefully, we can see that correction. We haven't taken out these lows, so the odds of us still seeing that correction is still in our favor. However, yeah, if we do take out the lows, then maybe we have to be more focused on the lower time frame pullbacks because we might not see that bigger pullback. But for now, 1.43 still looks really good. Still very bearish on dollar CAD. USD DXY still looks pretty bearish as well. So there is some nice synchronicity between these markets here. So as long as we maintain 1.43 and we don't break through it to the upside like so, that keeps me bearish. If we break to the upside, I wouldn't necessarily be bullish, but I would kind of recalculate my entries and where I'm looking to get involved. But for now, that's still very much the plan there for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, a lot of upside yesterday as well. I think from an intraday point of view, this looks like a really nice opportunity because we've had this consolidation over here. Price broke to the upside pretty aggressively. Then we formed another consolidation and price broke to the upside pretty aggressively as well. So a retest of this area, perhaps maybe on like the 30, 15-minute chart would look good for more upside. There's a lot of momentum to the upside right now for Aussie dollar. And I would expect that to continue as long as we can continue to respect structure, which so far we're doing very, very well. So I would focus on this area here at 0.637, lovely level of resistance will be turned support. And if we can drop to like the 15-minute chart, didn't even have to drop to the 15, even hourly probably be a nice chart there. But the lower, the better in terms of refining the entry. But in terms of the price action, still very bullish. I was looking for the bigger pullback into this area. We may still get it, but at the moment in time, yeah, momentum is still very strong. The trend's still very up on the lower time frame. So I would keep it short and sweet with Aussie dollar, some pullbacks, intraday pullbacks, and would expect some new highs pretty soon there for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, same situation as well. I was looking for a slightly deeper pullback this week. Didn't quite happen. We just got them broken through the highs there again. So I would suggest another pullback will look good. This area here looks pretty nice. This is where the momentum kind of consolidated. Then we shot to the upside. So a retest of that area would be a nice place for long. You can see prices being continuous here with the breaks of the highs. So again, that points to the upside for us. If price is very consistent, breaking the high after high after high, and now we're being pretty consistent with the higher lows as well. It's a sign that directions are changing for New Zealand dollar. We've been pretty bearish for a while. It looks like that is starting to form a bit of a bottom now, and perhaps we could form a bit of a trend. Again, how long that bullish trend does go on for, that's a different question. It might just be a bigger pullback of the bearish trend before continuing. That could be the situation as well, but there probably would be some nice buy opportunities for us in the meantime, and that's kind of what we're looking at now. So keeping a close eye on that for New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold, this one having a bit of a nuisance, or being a bit of a nuisance, I should say, at the high here. So I'm still very bullish on gold. However, in terms of the buys, as I was mentioning yesterday, I want to see price well and truly break through this level at 29.40. If you can see a strong break above the high here, that will give me some confidence in terms of looking to follow the trend, because gold is still very much overextended. It's very stretched to the upside. So I'm expecting a deeper correction at some point. Yeah, if we're going to get that correction, then I need to see price kind of commit to the downside. We had some key support, which price respected this week. And we are starting to form a bit of a range here. So if we can commit to the downside past 28.80, then that deeper correction has probably got the green light. But at the moment, we're just really struggling at the high. We may just go and break through potentially. If that's the case, great. Then I'll start talking about some longs again. Perhaps we could be looking at a pushback to 3K, which is that big psychological level. But at this moment in time, we're kind of just struggling to do either right now. So don't really like the price action of gold too much. Ryan, you said you're shorting gold on a low time frame. I mean, depends what time frame you're looking at. 50-minute doesn't look too bad because we do have some bearish structure on our hands here. We've got the high, we've got the low, the lower high, lower low. So there is some structure there to follow. But I'd wait for a much deeper correction before looking to get involved. Something that mimics this in a way. Looking for another lower high, maybe closer to 29.40, coming back into some areas up there. So yeah, I think shorts do look okay from an intraday play. Of course, gold is still very much in a very bullish climate, so shorts are always going to be a bit more aggressive. Not that they won't play out, but when the market is as bullish as it is, it's always going to be a bit more difficult for a sell. But You do have this level here to the left, which price is still struggling to break through. So that's a bit of a confluence for the shorts there. And if you can get a deeper correction, there could be a nice short, perhaps maybe this afternoon or maybe early next week. So something like that could line up pretty well on the 50-minute chart, but we do need to see that correction kind of develop. And come into that area. Otherwise, I wouldn't really be looking to short around here. It's too aggressive of a sell, especially given the circumstance which we're trading in, which is still a very bullish market. But yeah, I can see some short-term sells there for gold, keeping it short and sweet. Personally, I'll still be focused very much on the buys, as that's where the current trend lies at the moment. But I would still be expecting to see at least a reaction there. In terms of silver, still very bullish on this one as well. This one has cleared some nice resistance on the daily chart. So as long as we can keep this up and we don't break back underneath, I do think things are looking very good for silver for a push all the way back to the swing high here at 34.88. That's still very much the target for myself for silver. Now that we've cleared resistance there, most likely price is going to push back to the next high, which would be this one at 34.88. So we are trading above some nice resistance now. Things are a little bit slow, so that's what I don't like about silver. Nice trend, higher highs, higher lows, pretty clear to see. But we've been having this breakout, but we just lacked momentum. So I'm kind of hoping silver will see some momentum from somewhere, and then we can look to try and hop on the next pullback and ride that to the upside. Perhaps maybe on the retest of that level, that would be a nice place for an entry. But in terms of the setup, I do want to see price take up the highs here on the left, because if we do take up the highs, that means that the trend on the 4 hour is still continuing. And most likely we are going to push back to the high there, 34.88, because last week we had that massive wick to the upside just before Friday closed. So if we can take out the high of that wick, that shows us that, okay, that rejection has been pretty much void. Price is now breaking the highs of that, showing that, okay, the buyers are successful now breaking past that point. And pullbacks and more upside will look good, and we'll be expecting a push back to 34.88. So very bullish on silver, just looking for momentum to pick up a little bit, because we are becoming a bit corrective now. So hopefully that can come from somewhere, maybe today or maybe some point next week. And then, looking for pullbacks, possibly on the retest of the high. Depends how he sets up, but something like that is what I'll be interested in for silver. So yeah, very bullish on silver. Overall, pretty bullish on gold, but yeah, we need some development there before I do take any buys on gold and silver. And still looking at some weakness for USD. Miko became a rapper for 2.6. Yeah, I did. Not sure where that yo came from. My brain was just went somewhere else for a second. Where was I? Okay, so I'll go through pound yen, dark Sean. We'll go through Euro Aussie as well. What's up, Yusuf? Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Okay, already got out the trade for at 80 pips. Volume in the last hour was 16k lots. So waiting for retracement. New entry. Okay, nice. I'll still have a look at pound yen, see what's happening on the lower time frames. Got my 70 pip target, was slow and emotional. Well, 70 pips, slow and emotional, or fast and not emotional, it's still 70 pips. So, it's one way or another, hit the target. Ahmed, good morning. Hope you're well. Lighton, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, I'm not too sure that will go. Actually, that could be a nice idea, cease integrated. Using some slang to describe analysis. That would definitely make the streams a bit more unique if I was using a bit of lingo there. But yeah, I'm not too sure that will go down well though. People be thinking, what is this guy doing? What's up, Pharaoh Gams? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thank you. Can you check on Aussie Chef? I'm looking to buy it. Okay. I'm still holding a sell position for that one. I thought I was going to get stopped out yesterday, but it's still just toying with me, unfortunately. But yeah, I will take a look at Aussie Chef for you. Lighton, what's up? Dollar CAD, Aussie dollar. Okay, we'll have a look. See, Regina, what is up? Good morning. Good morning. I hope you are well. So, Let me go take a look at GJ quickly, then we'll go through Euro Aussie. So yeah, so we had a bit of a reaction this morning, didn't we? The yen pairs had a bit of a bullish reaction, and they are up on the day. Of course, in terms of our overall bias, that doesn't really do anything. I'm still very, very bearish on the yen pairs longer term. So I'm only actively looking to sell the market, not really interested in the buys. And in fairness, if you look at the price action as well, at least on GJ and anywhere in the 4-hour chart, you know, market structure is still pretty bearish here. Still seeing lower lows and lower highs. So this bullish reaction to me just looks like price coming back for another high before seeing some more downside. So for pound yen, I'll still be expecting more of the same. Just looking at this as another massive pullback pretty much. So Darkshon, you said you're looking for some re-entries. Is that for okay, got on the sell this morning 750. So I assume okay, that's at that high there. And waiting for retracement for re-entry. Okay. So you're looking for another lower high or for price to come back and test the high there? What's the plan there on the 5-minute chart? Because to me, it looks like price is still kind of stuck in this range here a little bit. If we can break that to the downside, then sure, we could probably see a really nice trend on the way back down to the lows at 188.9. And that could provide some nice opportunities there and some pullbacks. At the moment, the market is still a little bit flat there. Perhaps we could come back, retest the high, and you can find a pretty much a copy and paste trade of what you had this morning. So that could be a nice opportunity. But overall, I do expect pound yen to keep falling. And a nice trade would be if we do break the lows here and get some pullbacks going. That would be a nice opportunity. But yeah, pound yen. Still looking for a lot more downside here on the higher time frames. I know we had a nice bullish reaction this morning across a lot of the yen pairs, but hasn't really done anything in terms of the grand scheme of things. So I just expect more downwards now. Just a bit of a reaction before we continue selling off. I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs in a moment. I'll just go through some requests. Looking at 191.5 as a re-entry. Let's have a look. Uh, 191.5. Okay, so you're looking for price to come a lot higher before shorting, 191.5, 191.6. So that's around there. So yeah, I mean, possibly you could still retrace. I mean, as long as price doesn't take out this high for me, then I would still be expecting more downside. This could just still be another bullish kind of flag pattern to continue higher a little bit further before continuing. It would be nice if price can break the floor though. I think that would be a nice trend. But we still could have that bigger correction. So I think the shorts around that area do look pretty good as well. Of course, depends how price gets there. I think that's an important aspect to look at. But yeah, in terms of the bigger move, I still do see more shorts for pound yen. So I do like the shorts, and looks like price is still holding on to some support, turn resistance down the 4-hour chart as well. And I like the wicks this morning too. So yeah, I would still be expecting eventually a push back to these lows here at 187.5. I'll go through Euro Aussie. Holy One, you said you're in a long. No, you're shorting Euro Aussie. We'll take a look at that. I'll go through Aussie CHF in a second. We'll go through USD CAD, Aussie dollar as well. What's up, Alex? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, you're in Euro Yen short as well. Yeah, I think they've come into some nice areas for some sells. Gold US30 NAS. Yep, we'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so Euro Aussie looks like it's still bleeding to the downside. A really nice break to the break of the lows yesterday. I mean, it could have been a little bit bigger, but I like the fact that we did actually clear the lows, because now I can kind of look at this as a bit more of a bearish trend, or at least market shifting from bullish to bearish. So now I'm expecting a lot more of the same on the way down to these lows. So I think there could be a lot more downside longer term. From a intraday perspective, the market's been forming some nice lower lows and lower highs, as we can see. One over there, second over there, and perhaps we've got a third one forming here as well. Nice little trend line confluence there, fitting the highs pretty well. So yeah, I would say there's a pretty good chance you could probably make a push back into the low here. Presume that's where your target is, Holy One. Back at 1.635. I would say we've got a very good chance of going and hitting that low, as long as we don't suddenly go and take up the high here. I'll be expecting us to push back into this low. Got some minus support there, but looks like if price can break through that, should see that swing to the downside. So yeah, from intraday perspective, looking very, very bearish for Euro Aussie, and longer term as well. I do think there is room to the downside too. But yeah, Euro Aussie looking pretty good to the downside. Aussie Chef, as I said, still hanging on to that trade for dear life. Very, very close to taking me out yesterday, but didn't quite do that. Again, letting the trade do its thing in terms of whether it takes me out or does reverse back into profit. If it does, of course, break the high, I'll stop out and move on to the next position. But at the moment, Aussie Chef still respecting the trend line just about, and still respecting that high there as well. So the trade is still on, but very, very close to wicking me out yesterday. But we did close back below the level. So price is still respecting structure, still respecting my analysis. So I will hold on to the trade until otherwise. But in terms of Aussie Chef breaking to the upside, if there is a strong break of the high, it could be a nice follow through back to 0.5820. Because once we do break through the trend line, typically price does come back to retest the origin, the start of the trend line, which would be the high here. So a break of this would normally indicate a push back to that high as well, especially if there is some nice momentum too. This could actually become a nice level for a buy in terms of looking for the higher low and a retest. So you got 1, 2, and then perhaps 3 if we do get the break and retest, and at least a push back to the high there. But I would expect us to get to the high there as a target. So 0.582 and 0.58520 if we do break the high. But yeah, if you're looking for buys in Aussie Chef, I would wait for us to clear out the noise there first. Otherwise, you're kind of buying into resistance at the moment. But yeah, we'll look to see how we can develop. At the moment, still respecting structure, so we'll hold into that trade. But it has been a very annoying trade, I must say. And that's the C-Chef pairs for you. They do take their time, and they are very kind of stagnant. Although I do like trading them, because when you do catch them right, they do give some really nice trades. Okay, so I'll go through dollar CAD and then Aussie dollar next. We'll take a look at Euro Yen and the indices as well. So in terms of Aussie dollar, again, still very bullish for this one. It did break to the upside pretty well yesterday, at least from an intraday level, intraday point of view. And I do think keeping intraday, the longs look pretty good here, especially on a retest of the high. So this is the range we broke out yesterday. If you kind of just focus on the high there, I think as we drop to the hourly chart, this becomes a really nice level for a long. So nice correction. Perhaps we might see a bit of upside and some more follow through. This could present some nice longs, perhaps. Maybe I was going to say this afternoon, but I don't think so. I think, yeah, 10:30 now. I think this is more of a setup for Monday. If it does set up today, it'll probably be right at the end of the day, just before the weekly candle closes, which is the best time to enter a intraday position. So yeah, there's more of a trade for next week, but still a nice opportunity regardless. I'll keep an eye on this one as we open up on Monday or Sunday evening. Keep an eye on this one. 0.637 looks like a really nice level of resistance, which will be turned support. And at the moment, there's a lot of momentum in the market with the buys. So nice impulse there, another impulse there as well. So that indicates that the trend is healthy and upside still looks pretty likely. So looking at a correction there for Aussie dollar and some more upside. I was talking about the retest of this range. Unfortunately, hasn't come into fruition yet. Maybe we do see the bigger pullback, perhaps. So that's definitely something I'm still going to keep a close eye on should we get that bigger pullback. But at the moment, Aussie dollar still looks very, very bullish to me, so expecting more upside naturally. I would keep an eye on some of the targets here on the left. These are some highs on the left we can keep an eye on, and they could be as extended targets. Maybe you take most of your profit at the high over there, and you can leave some to run back to some areas on the left if you want to really try and stretch the trade. But yeah, in terms of what I'm seeing for Aussie dollar, it's a bit of a bullish trend now, and I'll be expecting price to continue with that. Dollar CAD still looks pretty good as well. Hasn't come back to retest that range there, unfortunately. We came pretty close past a couple days, but didn't quite see enough to come back and retest that range. But I wouldn't say it's written off just yet. We could still very much see another push to the upside for that opportunity. So I would still very much be keeping a close eye there on USD CAD. The plan very much is shorting dollar CAD. That is what I will be looking to do, as long as we don't break to the upside past the range like such. As long as we don't do that, I'm looking at shorts for this one, and that really is where I want to take it to the downside. But yeah, overall, dollar CAD to me looks very, very bearish. So expecting a lot more downside there. DXY looks pretty bearish as well. So USD is weak at the moment. And if we can look to continue that, at least we've got momentum in our favor. So yeah, dollar CAD expecting a lot more downside. No setup just yet, at least in the 4-hour chart. Aussie dollar, I'll probably keep an eye on the intraday from an intraday point of view in terms of entries. Need a much bigger pullback if you're going to want to get some entries on the 4-hour chart. But hourly, maybe even 30-minute, might find some nice entries, maybe later today, but most likely next week. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking at for Aussie dollar and dollar CAD. We'll take a look at I'll go through gold, US30, NAS quickly, then I'll go through the yen pairs together. Happy to help, Ferragams. What's up? Teta Lestai, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Pound NZD we'll take a look at as well, no problem. Looking for a sell. Okay, we'll have a look, see. So we'll go through gold, US30, and NAS. So gold, as I mentioned earlier, I like the buys for gold, but I need to see price break to the upside. At the moment, we're kind of struggling at this level of resistance here from last week, which is where we had that aggressive sell as well. And that's what I didn't really like about gold last week when we had that Friday kind of sell-off, was that price is still respecting the highs. You know, if gold is still very much in a comfortable uptrend, we should be breaking highs and at least looking for a retest on them. If price is going to be struggling at the high, then it's an indication that not necessarily that we're about to turn around, but at least the trend is slowing down, which again is fine. But if we're still going to look to continue this, I need to see price break the highs well, and then I'll be looking for pullbacks again, especially when the trend's been going on for such a long time and it's very, very stretched, and we're coming into areas or well, we've moved enough for us to actually have a decent retracement now. That if I am going to still be looking to buy, I need to make sure the opportunity is of high quality, and I would be looking to see if we can get the break of the high there and look for the retest. At the moment, we've kind of broken above, breaking back below, breaking above, breaking back below. So right now it isn't clear for gold. It isn't clear what gold's trying to do. All I can say is that we're strong at the highs, which again is not a good sign. Perhaps we do sell off. So if I'm looking for buys in gold, I need to see a comfortable break, and then I'll be looking for retests. We still got 3K up here, which is a big psychological level, and perhaps where maybe gold could be looking to trade towards. Maybe a lot of people looking to exit some positions or bank some profits or whatever at 3K. So that could be an area which price is slowly working its way towards. And if I'm looking to trade that, I need to wait for a breaking test of the high there. If not, then price is basically stuck in a range. We've got equal highs, equal lows, and we'll just wait until price makes a move, to be honest, for gold. But this is still what I'm interested in. In terms of US30, so US30 still pretty flat. I know we had a bit of a move to the downside, but price is still within the range. So in terms of opportunities, I would wait to see if we can bounce on the low there at 43,800. Came pretty close yesterday, but didn't quite have that retest. So perhaps we might roll over today to get that retest. These are still the two opportunities I'm looking at for US 30. So either the retest of the high or price comes back and retests the low. Again, overall for US 30, still very much a comfortable bullish trend. So the direction I'm looking trading is very much to the upside. However, I do need to see some entries and some rejections at these lows or on the break and retest if there is going to be a trade opportunity that's worth taking. So with US 30, because it's flat, we want to make sure we're focusing on the extremes, whether we're taking the break and retest of the high or buying down low as possible, and that would be at this level here at 43,100. So waiting for price to get there, see how we respect the level. If we do see some rejection, wicks, bullish engulfing candles, that could line up a really nice opportunity. Likewise to the upside and the break and retest, and of course that lines up pretty well with the high here on the left as well. So waiting for either or for US 30, and yeah, overall still very bullish, looking for a lot more upside. NAS 100. This one looks like it's had a nice pullback. Hasn't quite come back to retest this area here. Looks like it is retesting the high there though, and it's had a decent rejection. I wouldn't be opposed to another push to the downside, however, before getting that buy. I do like this area here. Really nice resistance. Price stalled there for a few days before having a really nice breakout. It would be nice if price can pull back a little bit deeper, test 21,800, and we can find some longs at least to take it back to the highs, perhaps a lot further as well. But again, looking at NAS on the higher time frames, a comfortable uptrend. So the direction I would be looking to trade is very much to the upside, looking to kind of try and catch those next higher lows. And since we have broken through some sturdy resistance and we do have some nice support below us, in terms of entries, I would wait for another push to the downside back to 21,850, 21,800. Find some entries in this area and see if I can take it back to the high, back to where we came from. And like I said, we could probably go a lot further as well, but at least in terms of a simple target back to the highs always makes a load of sense in this situation, especially when you got a comfortable bullish trend on all the major time frames. In terms of euro yen, so Holy One, you said you're in a short for that one. So with euro yen, we've had well, not just euro yen, all the yen pairs, they all had a big push to the upside. But the way I see it, it looks like price is just putting another lower high in this sequence. So we've got the lower highs here. It looks like price is just putting in another one for continuation. So still very, very bearish on euro yen. I like the consolidation here. It would be nice if price came back to retest that, but not quite enough to see that happen. But judging how price is looking at momentum in the lower time frames, looks like we found a high that price can't break through, and now we're seeing some momentum as well. So yeah, I would favor more downside here for you. So say for US 30, for euro yen, and of course the next big low would be 156.4. I do expect us to go further and eventually take out this low, but of course we would have to break through that low first. So yeah, euro yen to me looks pretty good on the lower time frames. I like the wicks there on the 4 hour chart. A lot of the yen pairs this morning left behind some nice wicks to the upside, kind of like tweezer tops there. So I quite like the rejection. So naturally, I'm just expecting more downside. A lot of momentum in the past couple of days with that drop. I know we've seen a couple strong-ish bullish candles there, but it doesn't really add up in terms of, okay, I'm expecting this to happen. Still very, very bearish, and 155.483 looks like a likely target. So yeah, expecting more downside. I'll go through pound entity quickly before I go for the rest of the yen pairs. No problem, Lighton. Happy to help. What's up, Tony Gold? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Yusuf, looking to test 50-minute time frame for analysis, please. What would you recommend for the higher time frame bias entry time frame? Looking to test 50-minute time frame for analysis, what do you recommend for higher time frame bias and entry time frame? Well, again, you can use whatever time frame you want for an entry. If you're looking, again, you can use like an hourly. I wouldn't want to go lower than the 4 hour chart in terms of overall bias. You can use whatever time frame of bias, but I would keep it to a minimal 4 hour chart, because you want some consistency. If you go below the 4 hour, news can affect the market quite a lot, and the bias can be quite skewed. So, I mean, preferably speaking, you want the daily chart for your bias, but at least the 4 hour chart if you're going to go right down to lower time frames. So I would suggest at least the 4 hour, but daily is always a great market for a great time frame for bias. In terms of entries, you can use the 50-minute chart for entry. Um, you can use the 5-minute chart for entry as well if you want to get very zoomed in, but you have to wait for price to build a picture first. So if you're looking at the 4 hour chart for your bias, you need to wait for bullish structure or bearish structure, wherever your bias is, on the 50-minute chart that lines up, and then you can drop to the 5-minute for entry, or you can wait for the hourly chart for your bullish structure and drop to the 50-minute chart for entries. You can use whatever combination, to be honest, but just make sure that whatever you're looking to trade is lining up with the higher time frame. The DAX and the JPY basket. Okay, let me just go through pound NZD quickly. So pound NZD, you said you're looking for a sell. So yeah, pound NZD, I'm not a big fan of at this moment. Price is still making kind of these higher lows, but looks like we're stuck between some resistance right now. So we're kind of squeezing a little bit. And I wonder, is price getting ready for a break to the upside, or are we breaking to the downside? I do not know. I'm kind of waiting for price to make its move first, show me its hand before I do, have I do have a bias, but I have a clearer setup and a clearer bias to trade. If we do make a move to the downside, start taking out the lows to the left there, then yes, I would be interested in some lower highs, perhaps the retest of the low. But of course, that might take a few days to actually pan out. But you said you're looking for a sell. I wouldn't be looking at a sell at the moment for pound NZD, because right now we're coming to this trend line here. We're coming back into support right now. I wouldn't say now's the best time to be looking for shorts on pound NZD. Sure, you can anticipate the breakout, but I'd very much wait for price to actually make the break first and then look for some pullbacks of that. I wouldn't suggest looking to short directly into that support level, even if you do expect it to break, because if it doesn't break and price does bounce, which has a good chance of happening, kind of look like a donut a little bit, shorting directly into that area. So wait for the breakout, and then once we've got that area to our backs, the shorts become much more clearer, and you can take your shorts down the low time frames. But right now, we've got a lot of noise there, so I would avoid taking shorts right now. I kind of have a bearish bias too with pound NZD, but I need to see something like this happen first, before I do start to look for actually trades. So yeah, pound NZD, possibly we're getting ready for a breakout. Let's wait for the breakout first, though, before we do look for entries. But yeah, there can be some nice opportunities hopefully next week. In terms of the DAX and the JPY basket, what has the DAX been up to? Okay, so we did put that lower high in yesterday. Nice pullback. Price then followed and made some continuation. And I'll still be keeping a close eye on that lower high there, as we can pull back into this area. That'll be a nice place for a short, and at least a follow through back into the prior low. So with the DAX, it's still very, very bullish market. So these shorts are a bit more aggressive. They are still counter trend. But at least now we've got some structure to trade with. Of course, you've got the original drop there, and then you've got a lower high. Now you've got a lower low. So we're looking for that to continue back into the prior low here. If, of course, price does break this to the upside, then I'll back away from the shorts again, and maybe price just continues to rip to the upside. We are still very bullish after all, so the possibility of that happening, is still definitely there, especially in the current climate. But what we can see is that there is some confident bearish structure. There's a lot of momentum in these legs as well. It's not like we're kind of slowly pushing to the downside. We're seeing real force. So that's always a great confidence to have when we're looking to short, especially when the trend is definitely not our friend right now. So I would keep a close eye around 22,480. That would be my area of interest. Looking for another lower high and a push back into the low. I wouldn't try and take it any further than that, really. Sure, we could have a much bigger retracement for the DAX, and we are still due it, possibly back to retest the high here. But I would only potentially leave a small position to run just because I know momentum is still not with me, even despite these big bearish engulfing candles on the 4-hour chart. Momentum is still not with me here. So I have to be very, very careful of that. And if you're looking for buys for the DAX, then I'd wait to see if we can break structure here on the hourly chart, then look for some pullbacks and some higher lows afterwards. So perhaps the retest of the high or a pullback somewhere else that could look good to take it back into the high and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll wait for something like that to happen if I'm looking to long. But if you're looking for some counter trend shorts, we've got some structure now. So I'll wait for a pullback and then some more downside. So that's kind of where I'm at with the DAX. In terms of the JPY basket, still very bearish with this one, bullish with this one, sorry. Still looking for a push back to the high there, 7,200. So that's still where I'm expecting price to get to. Of course, right now we've got a brick wall just ahead of us, which is this level here at 6,800. So price has to break through that. But I do expect us to go and make that happen. At some point next week, we'll probably get the breakout, and perhaps we can get some nice pullbacks afterwards. I was looking for a pullback into this area this week. Unfortunately, didn't quite happen. But if we can break through the high here, it will leave behind a really nice level of support to trade from. So resistance, 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 now flip support. And that could be our last kind of decent pullback the basket, JPY basket might give us before we do see that big swing back to highs again at 7,200. So yeah, the JPY basket is looking very bullish. I know we've had a bit of a reaction there, hence why the yen pairs had that reaction as well. I think if in the lower time frame, there might be some nice opportunities on the retest of this area. But if you're looking for a bigger swing, I'd wait for this level to break and hopefully you can find some nice retest for some longs on the basket. But of course, if the basket's pushing up, that means yen is going to be very, very weak, very, very strong, sorry. So the yen pairs would be very, very weak. So if we do see a nice breaking retest there, perhaps pound yen will give us some nice entries, euro yen, CAD yen, you name it. So yeah, very bullish on the end basket here. If we can get the break of 68.30, yeah, expecting push back to 7,200. What's up, Lauda? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, take care, Ahmed. We'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend, my man. Okay, so I'll go through the JPY pairs now. Some interesting moves there, as of course we've had that reaction on the yen basket. We've seen that reaction across the board on the yen pairs, but the original bias being very, very bearish on the yen pairs is still very much at play. So we spoke about pound yen briefly, still looking at a lot more downside for this one. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, we've had a nice little retest of some support there. We've been printing these lower highs here on the 4-hour stroke hourly chart. And I'll be expecting another swing back to the lows at 187.5. So very, very bearish indeed there for pound yen. Euro yen as well. Pretty much the same thing, although this one didn't quite retest the range, which I marked up. It would be nice if price was to go and do that. But despite that, I do still expect us to make a swing back to the lows here at 155.483. And I would expect us to, of course, break the lows. And of course, if the yen basket can break that resistance, break that roof, that would probably be equivalent to euro yen breaking through this floor here, perhaps giving us some nice pullbacks and then some more shorts soon afterwards. In terms of CHF JPY, this one has been pretty bearish as well. Really nice lower lows and lower highs. And as you can see, price is coming back into some support right now. I would be expecting price to go and break through that and then continue its path. Again, with CHF JPY in the higher time frames, we've got a lovely head and shoulder pattern. Left shoulder over there, head over there, right shoulder over there. And of course, this is our lovely neckline. As soon as price can break through that, I do expect the floodgates to open and see a lot of downside. So we've seen some nice downsides so far, but I do expect this just to be only the beginning and us to see a really nice trend form. So the plan for the next few weeks, few months, really for Swiss yen, will just keep looking to short the pullbacks. Of course, within reason, not looking just to jump into any position. It's got to fit the plan well, but if it does and it's a short, I'll be looking to try and take some trades and really take advantage of that. But the next trade I can see for Swiss yen would have to be waiting for the break of that support level, then looking for some pullbacks and some retests. Because at the moment we're trading to support, so I'm not really looking to short Swiss yen after this bounce. But should we break the floor, then yes, I will be looking to short the pullbacks. In terms of CAD JPY, another yen pair, which is giving us a really big head and shoulder pattern on the higher time frames. Forgot to mention Euro yen's also another one as well. But as you can see, left head, right shoulder, there's your neckline roughly. Looks like price is slowly making its way to eventually break through that support level there as well. So CAD yen, another one. Higher time frames look very bearish. At the moment, we're coming back into some support right now. It would be nice if we'd see a slightly deeper correction, perhaps coming back and retest that range there, just like we had with that range there. As you can see, I don't think we might just missed it. But it would be nice to see price come back and retest that before continuing. That would be a nice place for an entry, probably in the hourly chart. And looking to ride it back into lows, expecting this low to be taken out pretty soon. And overall, just expecting more downside. So very, very bearish here on CAD yen. I like the momentum as well. Really strong moves to the downside, implying that there's still a lot of selling pressure. And the likelihood of these lows being taken out is pretty high. So very, very bearish there for CAD yen. Aussie yen and New Zealand yen are a little bit awkward still. I want to see some bigger corrections for these ones before looking for any trades. I suppose they are coming back to retest some consolidation here, but it hasn't been clean, so it doesn't really get me too excited. I still like this trend line up here, connecting the highs there. It would be nice to see Aussie yen push back into that kind of area for a short. I think I'm probably asking a bit too much there from Aussie yen, but in terms of a solid entry and a solid stop loss, this is really where it would lie at. So that would tempt me into a position there for Aussie yen. Like I said, it looks like we are retesting consolidation right now, and perhaps we might head bearish from that retest, but it doesn't quite do it for me, especially with the time frames I'm looking to trade on as well. So Aussie yen, again, another yen pair, very bearish on this one, expecting a push back into the low here. 94.5 is where I'm expecting price to head towards, and I'm expecting these lows to be taken out, but really that's where my focus lies. In terms of New Zealand yen, which is partner in crime, similar opportunity I'm looking at as well, which is the retest of the high over there, looking for price to come back into this area. Again, probably asking for a bit too much, but price action is just very, very choppy in this area. So again, in terms of a quality setup, this is really where that confidence does lie. And I can look to trade it back into the low there at 85.4. So that very much would be the plan there for New Zealand yen as well, which is, of course, pretty much a copy and paste of the Aussie yen opportunity. But in terms of the yen pairs, expecting major moves to the downside, 83.034. I'm expecting that low to be taken out pretty soon there for New Zealand yen. And for Aussie yen, likewise as well. I'm expecting this wick down here to be taken out for Aussie yen too. So you can see I'm still expecting quite a big drop for this one. You could argue this is a head and shoulder pattern as well. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And that's your kind of like neckline there as well. Expecting that to break and a push back to these lows eventually. So very, very bearish on these yen pairs. And of course, you've got a lovely dollar yen. Can't forget about this one. which did see a really nice move to the downside yesterday, breaking through the floor pretty aggressively. Spoke about this one briefly on the Discord. Really nice push to the downside, and I do expect us to see some real follow through now. Of course, we've still got this low here, so technically speaking, there is still some bullish structure at play, which gave us this swing here, pull back, and then we create some new highs. So this is technically some bullish structure which is at play, and of course, since we're still respecting it, we still could see a move to the upside, although that move looks very, very unlikely. I do expect us to actually break through the lows here. It's just a bit awkward shorting in this area since this is where a lot of bullish momentum came from. But should we see dollar yen break through this, which is kind of what I want to see price do before looking for the pullbacks, then that gives me the green light to be expecting some really big shorts for dollar yen. And the next big level I have is all the way down here at 140.5. So the moment we do break through that low there on dollar yen at 149, looking at a massive push back down to 140.565. So I'm very, very bearish on USD JPY. In terms of finding some setups, I do want to see a bit more downside before I do entertain the pullbacks. And should we take out the low at 148.640, then yeah, dollar yen becomes a really nice short. Retest of support, turn resistance, looking for the next lower high, and so on and so forth. And we've got a really big drop to look at. So yeah, yen pairs for me are still looking very bearish. I know we've had some reactions the past few hours, but in terms of the overall direction, it's still pointing to the downside. Hey, what's up, Dylan? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How have you been? Lauda wanted to see how the current 4-hour candle closed. GJ for short. Okay, so you're looking to short after the 4-hour candle has closed. I mean, I actually like GJ in terms of its retracement because we've actually pulled back to retest some structure here. So price support there flipped internal resistance. Some of the other yen pairs have come quite close to retesting some structure like Euro yen, but GJ's come back to respect some nice support. I've marked out these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, and perhaps a fourth. Of course, not confirmed yet, but I would anticipate that to be the next lower high. And at least the push back down as a support looks pretty likely. I would expect us to get there though. So yeah, I would keep a close eye on that 4-hour candle close. If it does close like a bearish engulfing candle, we see some nice momentum from that. We've still got 3 hours left before that candle does close, so a lot can happen in that time. But if we can close with a nice bearish engulfing candle, I would say that it looks like a nice entry. Stops above the high. Risk to reward might not be the best depending how big the candle does close. Say, for example, it closes like this. Yeah, your risk to reward is like perhaps maybe a 1-to-1 into that low. If you're targeting this low, it's probably a 1-to-2 almost around there. But I would watch out for that area just in case we do turn around. But I would expect us to break the low. The odds of us breaking the low are pretty high. Successive lower highs still see momentum to the downside. The larger structure is still pretty bearish too. So I think there's a pretty good chance we do get back into support there. So yeah, pretty much overall for pound yen, expecting a lot more downside. The only thing that's a bit compromised would be the risk reward for that entry in the 4-hour chart. But I think in terms of the probability of the trade playing out, it does make sense to take the position, especially with a stop loss above the high there, which is in a relatively safe space as well. So I do like pound yen. It would be nice if the setup would just kind of give a bit more juice. But the thing about this is that if it does play out, you can always leave positions to run. And because of what we're expecting in the higher time frames, or at least what I'm expecting in the higher time frames, I think there could be a really big drop for pound yen back into these lows and back into these lows. And some small winners can definitely add up, especially because of the amount of pips we have with pound yen. You know, from current price to the lows over here, you're looking at 1,000+ pips there. So you can leave a small position and that can build up over size over a while. The only downside is that you will be paying negative swaps if you're looking to swing shorts on pound yen. That's the only downside. But we should pick up the pace though, because the sells, they normally play out twice as fast, or on average. I wouldn't take that as a rule of thumb, but on average, if you look at the high time frames, we do sell normally twice as fast as we buy. The sales normally happen a lot more quicker. So even though they're negative swaps, we pick up the pace. So it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, pound yen, I like the setup there. It looks really good on the 4-hour chart. As I said, some of the other yen pairs not quite there, but I think in terms of the 4-hour setups, dollar yen is probably my favorite. Still got some work to do, but if we can break through the low there, the pullbacks become very, very interesting, especially because we're still seeing confident swings to the downside. Really strong drop there, and another strong drop there as well. So we're still seeing really strong momentum with the bears. So, and the fact is we can drop really hard as well. We got a long way to go, so that's why I like dollar yen too. The setup looks good, but equally the target looks very good as well in terms of the distance. Of course, if I do get the setup, I would take majority of my profits at the low, because that's where we can expect price to get to. Because the downside of looking for big targets, even when you think the probability is really in your favor, is that we could have a slightly bigger pullback at some point, and that can knock your trade off before hitting the longer term target. So even though your bias was correct and price did see the move, because of where you're positioned, because of maybe moving stop loss to break even, price can have that bigger pullback, knock you out of the trade, and then continue in your favor. So if you're going to go for those big risk reward opportunities, have areas where it makes sense to take profit off. You can look to leave positions to run to those bigger targets, but be prepared for bigger swings and fluctuation and consolidation, because that could very much happen. But you will get those times where you do take a trade and it just absolutely melts. And I think this could be one of those positions, but we'll see. Don't know why I deleted that. So yeah, dollar yen to me looks like a really nice position to keep a close eye on, especially if we can take out the lows down the left. Of course, the other yen pairs I do like as well. Swiss yen I like a lot as well. Should we break the low, that becomes a really nice opportunity there too, especially because we're still trading at all-time highs for Swiss yen. So this one especially, I do expect it to sell off pretty hard. But of course, need to break through some support first, and then we can find some opportunities shortly afterwards. So that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. And in terms of my watch list, it's very much just waiting for us to break support, because once the JPY basket does break the high there at 6,800, so once we do break this level of resistance, there probably will be some nice breaking tests across the board in the yen pairs. In particular, pound yen, euro yen, Swiss, and dollar yen. CAD yen, maybe Aussie yen and New Zealand look a little bit more corrective, so I probably won't focus on those. But those 4 yen pairs in particular, pound, euro, dollar, and Swiss, those will be my focus going forward, shorting those on breaking retests. So we'll keep a close eye on that. In terms of the USD pairs on the watch list, it's still very much the same, to be honest. Hasn't changed since the start of the week. Dollar CAD shorts do look good, slightly higher up, 1.43. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on this one next week. Aussie dollar, I'm not too sure if I'll get the trade I'm looking at. I mean, I can see a nice intraday long opportunity, but the 4-hour chart might not give me that bigger retest. I'm still looking to see if we can get that bigger pullback into this zone, but at the moment, I'm not too sure if we will see that. In terms of New Zealand dollar, I still really like this one as well. There's a new area I'm focusing on, which is 0.57229. However, I probably need to drop to the hourly chart to really maximize my risk reward. 4-hour chart probably won't give me anything better than a 1-to-1, which is nothing wrong for 1-to-1, but I'm looking for bigger risk reward than that on my trade. So with New Zealand dollar, looking for pullbacks, we're seeing some consistency with the higher highs and higher lows. Now I'm expecting another break to the upside, but of course, need that pullback first. So dollar CAD shorts, Aussie dollar longs, New Zealand dollar longs look good. Dollar CHF looks like we're getting there. We had a nice drop yesterday, but still haven't managed to break through support. So that's a little bit annoying. I wanted to see price break through support, and then that's when I looked to add it to the watch list, because now we've got a really nice level to retest and find some entries from. So as you can see with dollar CHF, pretty much a ranging market. We've got equal highs up there, equal lows. And of course, if I just mention where we're trading the weekly chart, we are trading back at really, really strong resistance. So I'm looking for price to push all the way back down into support here, which is 0.84. Should we see that rejection, I mean, the two prior tests of that level has reached that level. So there's a good chance we could do that third time. Of course, I'm not looking to swing that in one go. I'll very much be looking to swing it back into the prior low, and I'll see if I can hold positions on where we at. Dollar CHF can be quite a choppy pair as well, so probably won't be looking for the full swing. But in terms of opportunities, we're starting to build up some lower highs. We had the equal highs up there with the double top. Now price is falling some lower highs. The cherry on top is very much just the break of structure here. So if you can break support, great. Then I'll be looking for the lower high on the retest of it, and hopefully find some entries soon afterwards, and we'll see how far we can take it. But dollar CHF, something that could add to the watch list perhaps next week if we do see the regular support. At the moment, still not interested, just because we may respect support and push back up again. And there's nothing for me to do at that point in time. So I need the break of support before I can really be interested in it. And pound USD is the other USD pair, which I do like. Really nice structure, healthy momentum, nice trend line confluence here, consistency with the higher lows, 1, 2, 3, looking for the fourth. We've got a really nice level of support resistance at 1.25. As you can see, support a couple of times there, resistance a couple of times there as well. So 1.25 looks like a really, really nice level for a buy. And that's really where I am interested in getting involved from. So pound USD, should we see a pullback into that level, I will be looking for entries on the 4-hour chart to swing it back to the high. Let's say if we pull back from here, then of course that becomes my target. I know we've broken out the range, so perhaps we might retest the range and continue, but again, that's not really my type of trade. So I'll be staying away from that. But in terms of the bias, in terms of the analysis, very bullish for pound, looking for buys at that level. And then perhaps we might see a push back into the swing high there at 1.279. That could be where we're working towards. But as long as the dollar keeps up its bearish structure, all these USD pairs, which I've just mentioned, I'm very, very, I'm expecting them to be stronger than USD. I was going to say I'm very bearish, but it depends what USD pair I'm looking at, because dollar CAD and dollar CHF I'm bearish, but of course pound USD, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar I'm bullish. So I'm expecting dollar weakness essentially across the board really. As long as the XY keeps up this bearish structure, I'm looking to see if we can get a push back down into support here at 105.600, and then we'll see what happens from there. If we break structure, we could be looking at a really big move down. If we respect it, perhaps we might be bullish again. But for now, still very much consistent with the lower highs there. So that's really where I'm at with the USD pairs. In terms of the crosses, I haven't really been a big fan of the crosses for a while, to be honest. So, I mean, Euro Aussie looks like we're getting there with Euro Aussie. I mentioned this one earlier in the stream. We did see a nice break of the lows there. I want that break to be a lot bigger, however, before I do look for any opportunities. I'm looking to see if we can get pushed back into support, which is down here at 1.60500. That's what I'm looking to see if price can get towards. We respected the high there very, very well. So as you can see, resistance, price broke through there, but didn't really amount to much. And then we respected it again. So I'm looking for a push back down into that support level at 1.6 now that we have broken out of this range here. So if this is going to start a bit of a trend, I'm looking at lower lows and lower highs, and the setup I'm looking at for Euro Aussie is the retest of 1.65, which is that level there, which is the low of this range. So of course prices broke to the downside. This looks like it was just a very deep retest of the range, and now price is seeing some follow through. This is what I'm looking at, some shorts at that area. We've got some lower highs now, 1, 2, 3, and then again at least a push back into the low. but I do think we can go a lot further. We've got that massive support level below us, which looks like price is going to be drawn to that area. I do think a big reversal can happen for Euro Aussie, because if you look at the long-term trend, we've been trending to the upside very well, but now it's starting to become very corrective, and we've had that really big rejection of that wick up at the high there. So that's a clear sign to me that says this trend is topping out. This range is just price kind of meeting its end, really, just very slowly, and perhaps it will form a bit of a bearish trend in the long term. So I do expect to see a lot of downside at longer term, and quite frankly, for a lot of the crosses, I'm expecting this pound Aussie, pound NZD, Euro NZD. We'll get into those pairs in a moment, but I'm expecting long term a lot of downside. And of course, I need to take that with a pinch of salt, because this long-term move could take a few months potentially to actually play out, and there will be good buying opportunities. I'm not going to just be looking for sales for the next few months for Euro Aussie. In terms of the bigger moves and holding trades for longer and bigger targets, I'll probably just keep that to the sell positions, but there probably will be some nice buy trades which I'll still take, just because I know it could take a very long time for that to play out, and there will be some nice trades to the upside in that time as well. But predominantly I want to be focusing on sales, especially if a good sell setup does form like this one. I'll keep a close eye, and I do think a push to 1.605 looks pretty good. Euro NZD, which is of course a very similar pair to Euro Aussie, I'm looking at the same thing on the higher time frames. If I go to the daily chart as well, so again, nice trend to the upside. But as you can see, price is really failing at the highs here. It looks like we are topping out, especially where if you look to the left, and a massive wick rejection over here back in 2015. Take that level across, see what's happening. Price is respecting this level very, very aggressively on the higher time frames. Of course, massive wick rejection there. That happened from COVID, I believe. Yeah, that was COVID. So again, price tried to break through that area, fell too. So price looks like it's topping out at this level. And again, we've had a long-term range, which I expect price to eventually do something like this on the way back down. So, longer term, Euro NZD looks like it's on a downward trajectory, which could present some really nice heavy shorts. So again, looking at this one in terms of this range, the fact that we've got a consolidation right below that level there, if this does break well to the downside, expecting a bit of a bearish trend to form and a push all the way down, back into the lows here. And then we might bounce and we might consolidate again. I expect us to break the support, but of course we could have a bit of a bullish trend that forms first. So we'll speak about that later on. But at the moment, looking for a really big sell here. Looks like we're only just breaking support now, so it's still very early doors. But if we can be a bit more consistent, see some momentum breaking through, perhaps early next week, could be a nice break and retest opportunity on the low of the range. And that could be a really nice trade to, again, at least take it back into the lows, but possibly a lot further as well. So very much in sync. Euro Aussie, Euro NZD both look like they can see a lot more downside in the long term and in the near future as well. So these guys will be making their way into my watch list probably next week. It's been a long time since they've been on my watch list. Actually, the Euro Aussie was on my watch list a couple of weeks ago. But I'm liking the opportunities, even despite them being a little bit choppy. Pound NZD and Pound Aussie, of course, very similar pairs to Euro NZD and Euro Aussie. Both of these are in some very interesting areas in the higher time frame as well. If you take this across, you see price has just pinched the high of that, especially when you've got a long-term bearish trend here. I do think price is getting ready for a really big sell. Last time we rejected this area, price went for a really big sell, and now we're just breaking through. I do think price is going to pretty much tank soon come. But of course, staying very, very patient for that, because as we drop to the lower time frames, we'll just zoom in a little bit more. We do have a very consistent uptrend on our hands right now. So the plan isn't to just short, just because I'm expecting price to sell off. There's still maybe some nice buy opportunities. Price might still be bullish. And we're not really seeing much bearish structure at all, really, on any major time frame. So I need price to start putting in some lower lows and some lower highs before I do get excited, preferably to take up this low here. So at least we've got high, low, lower high, lower low. Then my job will be to look for the next lower high somewhere, maybe on the retest of that level. And then of course, so on and so forth as we potentially pick up the pace. So pound NZD, as I mentioned earlier, I do have a bearish bias for this one based on where we're situated. But for all I know, we might still see another push to the upside. I'm not really interested in that, but that still could be the move pound NZD does see. So in terms of the bigger sell, waiting for a break of structure first, and then we'll start to look for some shorts. And I'll keep an eye for some continuations. In terms of pound Aussie, similar situation for this one as well. Go to the daily chart, zoom out, see where we're situated. Again, you can see these major lower highs, 1, 2, coming to an area where, again, we could be putting a third one for another push back down. So, again, all trading at big areas where we could turn around from. So we need to focus on those areas, and then hopefully, if price does start to put that bearish structure in, then we can start to look to follow that that direction. But again, it's going to take time. At the moment, the market's still being very consistent with these higher lows. So until we break structure, I can't be looking to short just yet. But should we do that, then we've got some lower highs to trade, and I can be looking for some shorts maybe on the retest of this low. So yeah, in terms of the crosses, long-term downside, but it's going to take some time to actually develop. For Gomes, you make trading look easy. The only problem is patience and focus. I mean, it takes a lot of work, a lot of experience in trading. You could say that about any kind of professional athlete. You know, they make it look easy because, of course, they've been doing that for years, decades, and spending a lot of time on it. So I think in terms of trading, it's not any different. Spending a lot of time on the chart, spending a lot of time trading, a lot of time learning from your mistakes, and a lot of time learning as well as what's going to make you improve as a trader. But of course, patience and focus is a huge element of that as well, and will definitely help you journey out. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Trading definitely isn't easy. Exactly, especially because if you look at it, most well, if you look at the numbers, I'm pretty sure it's like 10% of traders on brokers are actually making a profit as well. And you know, if you got 10% of retail traders actually making a profit, then it just goes to show you that 90% of people are losing money. So, you know, if it was easy, of course, not no one's saying it's easy. But if it was easy, those numbers would be a lot more traders being profitable than losing. But I think at the end of the day, you have to be very focused, as you said, very focused, very patient. And I think you just have to be what the 90% are not, which is, you know, the 90% won't be patient, 90% won't be focused to a system. They won't be very emotionally intelligent in terms of discipline, in terms of holding trades or cutting losers or letting winners run. They won't be doing that either. Appropriate risk management, consistency with your risk management, none of that will be done as well. So if you can tick those boxes and do them all just to a basic degree, you're already setting yourself apart from the 90%. Of course, in terms of profitability, that will probably still take some time, but just by doing that, you're separating yourself from a lot of retail traders, and you're setting up yourself with a good foundation to learn from. And the bar is pretty low, to be honest. Of course, in terms of making consistent profits from trading, that requires a lot of devotion to your edge, mastering your edge. which will take a lot of time, years pretty much, to get to a degree where you're very confident and you can apply your strategy well. But in terms of just having a solid foundation and doing the simple things correct, reviewing your trades, being patient, waiting for your setup to form, appropriate risk management, not getting in the way of yourself, um, making sure that you're following your plan, all those things, which again, not essentially hard to do, is what the majority of people aren't doing. So if you can do that and tick that box, which you can start doing right away, it puts you in a really nice place to really excel your learning curve. And of course, once you've got that in place, then you can spend a lot of time on your back testing, a lot of time on your strategy, and making sure you know exactly what you're looking for, where you're looking for, and when you're looking for it. If you can get that down, then trading will become a lot more easier. I wouldn't say it ever becomes easy, but it becomes a lot more digestible. You know what you're looking for, you know when you're looking for it, you know where you're looking for it. And once you've got those boxes ticked, then everything else just becomes noise. Um, because you know exactly what you're looking for. And if it's not what you're looking for, then you've got no intention to be involved in that. Of course, I'm not to say you won't be perfect. You will be perfect because you will make mistakes, as every human does in every arena. But once you know exactly what you're looking for, when you're looking for it, why you're looking for it as well, trading becomes um, a lot more approachable, a lot more understandable, and it doesn't become just noise, which is probably what trading is in the beginning. A lot of noise, many different strategies, many ways to do the same thing. From my experience, they all do work. It's just about how you approach and how you do trade. The simplest strategies can be very, very powerful, but it depends how you trade it. One person can trade a strategy, the different person can trade the same strategy, but one be losing, one be winning. Why is that? It's not because of the strategy, it's because of the trader. So, um, trading becomes a lot easier once you do have that approach. But again, that could take years. Doesn't have to, but it could do. Anyway, let me go take a look at the CAD pairs. Oh, I'm entering in the wrong place. So with the CAD pairs, I haven't really been focused on these ones. I haven't really seen much of an opportunity, to be honest. Especially with how corrective they've been. I mean, more so Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD. These two have been very, very corrective. Euro CAD and Pound CAD not that bad in terms of momentum, but Aussie CAD, it looks like we are finally breaking out this channel. So because of that, I won't be looking for shorts anymore. Not necessarily looking for longs because I don't really have much structure to follow. I need price to start breaking the highs aggressively. And then at that point, I've got some higher highs and higher lows to follow. And that might leave me some nice resistance turn support to trade from. But at this moment in time, there isn't any of that, and we could still roll over. We technically haven't really broken any structure just yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do sell. But because you left that channel, the synchronicity of the market is gone in terms of the low lows and low highs. We're starting to have deeper pullbacks, more corrective pullbacks. So if we can break the high well, there could actually be some nice longs. Likewise with New Zealand CAD as well, which is also breaking the channel, I'm pretty sure, or at least attempting to. So yes, looks like price is just trying to break through there. The fact that we haven't seen a push to the low and now price is trying to break through the channel is a big red flag for the sellers, because every time price has respected the high of the channel, we've had a successful push back into the low, tested the high back. Well, maybe just push it back to this area, back to the low, back to the low. This time Price came about 3/4 of the way before pushing to the upside. So that's a bit of a red flag. The fact that we haven't seen a push to the low yet price is pushing to the upside and it looks like it's trying to break the high of the channel, makes things very, very awkward. So similar to Aussie CAD, you're probably going to see another push back to the high. And of course, if that does create a new high, then NSD CAD does fit the criteria in terms of bullish structure, and some buyers will look a bit more favorable at that point in time. I still wouldn't be bullish for New Zealand CAD. I'm still very much bearish on the higher time frames. I'm still looking for a push back into this support level here, which you've just missed. So that's still the direction I'm looking to trade in, but I wouldn't have a setup anymore to follow that direction. So no setup for me. And at the moment, we're breaking out of the channel, so it doesn't really look good anyway. In terms of EuroCAD, this one has been very flat on the higher time frames. 4 hour, we've been moving okay. We've seen some nice structure recently. Nice push, pullback, nice push there as well. Perhaps we'll get another pullback of that move for another push to the upside. But in terms of the bigger picture and what price is doing, it's been incredibly flat. So I haven't been a big fan of EuroCAD for a while. And that has definitely kept me out of a lot of positions until I start to see momentum in a given direction, or a consistent direction, I should say. Then I would be looking for opportunities. If I don't, then I'm pretty much flat. And that's the reality here with EuroCAD. If you can start to see comfortable bearish trend form or whatever, even if it's bullish, that will look good as well. But let's have some consistency. That's all I'm looking for, really. For EuroCAD, it looks like every time we have some bullish structure, it ends. Some bearish structure, it ends. And of course, that's the reality of a market in a range. We're not going to have any consistency in terms of a trend. So until that changes, I'm still very much going to be on the sidelines for EuroCAD. Sure, there's shorter term opportunities to look at, but nothing that really tickles my fancy. And in terms of pound CAD, this one has, again, still be stuck in that daily range there. Equal highs above us, equal lows just below us. The market has been dancing in between as well. So haven't been a big fan of pound CAD either. There might be some nice sells as we approach the high. There might be some nice buys as we approach the low. I say might because it does depend how we react when we get there. But if we do see some rejection, wicks, bearish engulfing candles, or bullish engulfing candles, if it's at support, that could lead into a nice buy opportunity. I would keep an eye on the 50% of the range, which is around this area here. That could be a nice target to have initially. And of course, if we do get the breakout, then we can speak about trend continuation. If we do break the high well, we can look about some longs above the high, but we are a long, long way away from that. So we'll wait patiently. But yeah, I haven't been a big fan of the CAD pairs. Hey, Ferragams just changed the profile pic there. Nice. Yeah, true. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you're looking for. It's the consistency that you're interested in. It's the consistency and your approach. And again, the answers in the pudding. The proof's in the pudding. For us, we have the advantage to back test, look back at previous market data, previous market history, go test, go see what the market tends to do, where, and when. And you can build a strategy from that. Literally anyone. You can literally just go through the markets and test ideas, test the thesis. Okay, if I buy here when this happens and this happens, let me go test that 50, 100 times. What's the outcome? And you can develop that, tweak that, improve that, refine that, and create a strategy from it. And you can go retest it, put it to the sword, and really see how effective this strategy is, and would it attain you the results you're looking for as well, which is the big question. Given the capital size, the trade frequency, the targets, the risk reward, the win rate, you can go study those metrics, those data points, and build a strategy from that. So back testing is literally a weapon, really. Um, we've got access to all this data, and of course, the old disclaimer: past results don't indicate future results, which is 100% true. Which is why you need to make sure that you're very aware of where your strategy, where your edge does lie. Because, for example, if you go back test the market where you're seeing a really aggressive trend and you're back testing some aggressive trend following systems and you see really good results, you don't want to go and then take that same system and go and trade it in a very choppy range bound market environment, because you're not going to see the same results. And if you only test it in those kind of strongly trending market conditions, you might think that that strategy works everywhere when it doesn't. It only works in those conditions. So you have to make sure that you're patient and you're aware enough to know when and where to use that strategy and when to use those um, when to use that edge. So that is very, very important as well. But we have access to all this data, all this information, and predicting the future. One way to do it is looking what we did in the past, and we have all the data here to look at and go through. And that's one of the huge benefits of back testing, is that you can go put anything to the sword. If you've got an idea, test it. You've got a setup, go test it. See what you find. See what you get. Exactly, exactly. Holy one. Or it does repeat, so you go up or down or just ride the wave 100%. I mean, it is literally 50-50. It's either the market does go up or down. Of course, it can go sideways, but eventually it will go up or down. So it is 50-50 at the end of the day. Um, which is why you're looking for patterns. You're looking for something that repeats itself. When this happens, do we tend to move up or do we tend to move down? Okay, I can see that over the past 100 trades, when this and this happens, we tend to move down 60% of the time. So there's a slight edge there. Then, of course, you need to apply risk management. Where's your targets at? Your stop loss? What's your entry signal? How can you tweak and improve that? Is there another confidence you can add to increase the win rate or increase the risk reward? All those questions you can go experiment with, and go and test and find out. Uh, Nazar, yes, we'll take a look at pound yen for you, no problem. That's true as well. That's true as well. It'll be impossible to make money as every trade you take is based on randomness. That is very true. That is a very important point there, because of course, if it was 100% random, any gains that you do make, you will eventually give back 100%. So anyone who's ever made money in the market would eventually, their P&L will go flat. Um, so anyone who's had success over like, a few years, a decade, their P&L wouldn't, they wouldn't still be in profit. They would give it all back if it was random. And it can't be random as well, because there's an approach to people's actions. There's a consistency to that. People act a certain way when they're fearful, and people act a certain way when they're greedy as well. And if people are greedy and they tend to act a certain way, then that creates a pattern, that creates scenarios in the market which tend to repeat. And when people are fearful, they tend to do something. It's the same as when stocks are flying and everyone's excited, everyone's buying, and eventually it crashes. And then everyone's panic selling, oh, it's going to zero. Let me sell, 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 sell. So people tend to buy the tops and tend to sell the bottoms. There's a habit, and that's a pattern you see on numerous markets. First, I actually have my own prop firm at the moment. So, Elevating Trades, which you can see the logo in the top left-hand corner. To be fair, I probably will look to do a series with Elevating Traders. Yeah, I'll probably look to do that. But yes, I have my own prop firm, Elevating Traders. That's true as well. It is a zero-sum game. I mean, when someone makes money, someone's got to lose money. That is very, very true. Your losses are profit, vice versa. That is true. So, which is why you have to be on top of your game in trading, because if you're not, your profit will eventually become someone else's profit, and then your balance will become someone else's profit as well. So that is true. You know, money in, money out system, which is very true, Anton. But again, that's why you have to be well versed in your trading, because there's an edge. You have to look for that edge. You know, where's that pattern? Where's that value in the market? And if you can find the value, you can find that edge. You know, something where you're a little bit better than other people. Then that way you can see the money flow in your direction rather than against you. So that's something to look at. But let me go to check out pound yen before I forget, and then we'll go through what's up, Thabu? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yes, we'll go through Nasdaq too. So in terms of pound yen, okay, we're picking up the pace now. So yeah, pound yen I'm pretty bearish on as well. Looks like we've come back for a nice little retest of support here. It's acting as resistance as we speak. And if we can persist here, see a nice bearish engulfing candle, I think that's actually a really nice trade. You would have to watch out for the support level just below us. So you might be looking at about a 1-to-1 into that low, which isn't the worst risk reward in the world. And especially if you're looking to push it a little bit further, might be able to get 1-to-2 back into the low there. So that's not a bad trade idea there for pound yen. Of course, would wait 2 hours and 17 minutes before that candle does close. But at the moment, we are rejecting that level pretty well. And I like the wicks there as well. A lot of the yen pairs provided a lot of wicks this morning. Really nice rejection, back at support, momentum still to the downside. I know we've had a couple bullish candles there on pound yen in the 4-hour chart, but they didn't really amount to much. Structure still pointing down with these lower highs, and the overall structure still pointing down as well with these highs there too. So, didn't mean to do that. With these lower highs there as well. So as long as we maintain this market structure, market sentiment, I do expect us to keep pushing down. And yeah, push back to 187.5 looks pretty likely. So yeah, pound yen looks really good. Momentum looks like it's picking up quite nicely there. So we'll see how that kind of does close. If we can close similar to how it's looking right now, I would say that's a nice setup. Probably get a nice 1-to-2 back into the low. Yes, we'll go take a look at Nasdaq. Dark Sean starting to break support in the 5-minute as well. Okay, let me have a look at that. Okay, so it looks like price is breaking through support. So yeah, this is what I was mentioning earlier. If price can break through support, perhaps a nice little trend could follow here on the 5-minute, and there could be some nice pullbacks, retests on the way back down to this low there. So yeah, I really like it in the 5-minute chart, to be honest, because if this is going to be the next low high in comparison to those previous highs, then it could be some really nice pullbacks and retests here on the 5-minute just to ride it back into the lows. And there's a lot of distance between current price and the low there as well. So risk to reward looks pretty good too. So I'm liking pound yen. I'm liking pound yen a lot. Okay, I'll go through Nasdaq, look for retest and new entry. Okay, nice. So Nas 100. So with this one, again, overall direction still very much to the upside. Market still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So for me, for Nas, I'm still very much looking for upside. We've had a nice breakout recently, so I'm looking for the retest of this level. If I just remove that. So I'm looking for the retest of this high here at 21,869. If we can get a retest there, some wicks, bullish engulfing candle, I think that's a great place for an entry, since this is where we kind of stalled for a few days as price kind of consolidated and then we broke to the upside for a lot of momentum. Still yet to come back for a retest. If I draw it to the wick there, you can see we just missed it there. Still yet to come back for retest, so price can pull back into that zone. It looks like a really nice place for another higher low to form. Maybe price has already had the test and it's going to continue. The market's not perfect, but if we can come back one more time, we are still being pretty consistent with the lower highs here as well. If we can come back, retest that area, that looks like a really nice place for a long. And I'll be expecting a push back to 22,225, which is back at the all-time high. So overall for NAS, still very much a bullish market. We've finally broken out of this range here, which we're in for a long period of time, but we've broken out of that. So now looking for us to continue this momentum and continue the trend. And this area looks like a nice place to long from. Of course, depends how we get there, depends how we react. But if things look good when we get there, if we get there, then I'll be expecting another swing back to high. So yeah, very, very bullish on NAS. Still very comfortable trend in the higher time frame. So just expecting a continuation of that really. And as long as we maintain those higher lows, I'll only be bullish and only looking for longs for NAS. I think S&P is in a similar situation. Kinda, but I would still be a little bit more worried to buy NAS, S&P. As I mentioned yesterday, every time we do take up the highs here, we do tend to sell off pretty aggressively. And I wonder, are we going to do that again? Something like this. I mean, you could present a really nice buy afterwards, but at the same time, I would be careful about buying up there. Looks a little bit of an aggressive buy. I mean, normally S&P buying at the highs and looking for higher prices is not such a bad move because it tends to do that most of the time. But in this current climate, as we take out highs and sell off pretty aggressively afterwards, I'll be careful of that. But it's still a bullish market in the higher time frame, so I'm still expecting more upside. Might be a sign that we're slowing down, but it's still very much a comfortable trend, so I'll still be eyeing up the pullbacks. In general, how are we doing with the FTSE? Okay, so seeing a bit more downside now. So that's actually a nice counter trend move there. Nice break of structure, left behind a nice level for a short. There'll be a nice pullback if we can get there, retest that area, look for some more downside back into the low, and probably call it a day there. I mean, I do expect us to go through a bit of a bearish phase now for UK 100. It's been a clean break to the upside, but this one does love a consolidation and does love a pullback. So I expect one to form pretty soon afterwards. But I would suggest that looks like a nice trade opportunity there. How's Bitcoin doing? Okay, Bitcoin seeing some upside. I mean, nothing spectacular, but it is seeing some upside. I would still want price to push a little bit lower for Bitcoin, to be honest. Yeah, I would still like price to kind of push back to 90K, especially if you can wick through that, that would be nice. And then look for some longs back into the high. Just because right now, the way I see it, Bitcoin is ranging. We're likely going to break to the upside. Of course, we could break to the downside, but we're likely going to break to the upside. So price can pull back into the low end of the range, especially wick through as well. You can find some really nice entries, very safe stop loss as well, and capitalize on a really big risk reward. Even just the swing back to the high of the range will look good. And if you're lucky, perhaps we catch the breakout and price starts flying to the moon as well. Maybe 120K is our next stop. So Bitcoin has that possibility to break out. It's still comfortably in the range, not really seeing any major red flags just yet with Bitcoin. So if we can come back into the low end of the range, which again, not too sure if we will, but if we do, I feel like it's a really nice place for a buy. Target's back at 106K and maybe leaving some positions to run. I mean, it depends what you're looking for, but there's still very much a comfortable uptrend. So expecting more of the same here. Ethereum's the only one that's very awkward right now. Very, very awkward on Ethereum side. Go to the weekly chart. Actually, it's not that awkward. I say it's awkward because it's just been incredibly flat, whereas Bitcoin's been creating new all-time highs and loving life. Ethereum's just been a bit flat, but I must say it's still been consistent with the higher lows. So I do actually think this is not a bad place to actually be looking to buy Ethereum, just like Bitcoin is consolidating there. Ethereum's consolidating as well, just in a much bigger fashion, with the highs of the range up there and the lows of the range down here. But what we do have is some bullish confluence with the higher lows. So 1, 2, 3, and 4th there as well. So I don't mind Ethereum. I think we do have some potential to the upside. Again, still expecting us eventually to hit the all-time highs there for Ethereum. So I do expect Ethereum to do some catching up to do. Has got some catching up to do. And if you can hold this area, I think it's actually a decent buy opportunity. And a swing back to 4K and next stop 5K as well. I still think Bitcoin's the safer trade because there's still a lot more momentum in Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is ranging like Ethereum is ranging, but Bitcoin, there's so much more momentum in the market. So the probability of us breaking to the upside is far greater, but the return on investment is far greater for Ethereum should we see a pushback to the high. Because let's say if you buy around here, 2,700, you see a push to the high there, you're looking at price almost doubling. For Bitcoin to double, you need to get to 200K. And I think in terms of Ethereum getting to 5K versus Bitcoin getting to 200K, I think you've got a better bet with Ethereum, especially with maybe some people panic selling because it hasn't gone anywhere. You might see price start to push up. Again, not investment advice, just me thinking out loud. But I like where Ethereum is situated. I do think there's a decent risk reward play here. Push back to 48K. And if price does go and break through the range low, so we break through support and we break the trend line, that's where things become very, very red flag. And perhaps we're going to push back into the low here, which is all the way back at 1K. And that would not be good for Ethereum. So, yeah, I would say stop loss below the low there. Looking for that play, it makes a lot of sense. Only thing is that it might take a while. Bitcoin is a bit more rapid. Since the highs of 2021, Bitcoin's already gone past that and made new highs. We haven't made new highs for Ethereum since 2021. And of course, we're in 2025 right now. So it might not even play out for another couple of years. So if you've got the patience, it might be a nice play. This is the weekly chart, let's not forget as well. So it could take some time. And you might get a better entry, to be honest, with this wick here. You might see price go fill the wick potentially. So, but I think in terms of where it's situated, not all hope is lost for Ethereum. I think it's still in a nice place, but Bitcoin's your safer bet. XRP has been a little bit stagnant as well, but in fairness, XRP's made new all-time highs, so I can't complain with that. Might go for a bit of a correction since we've doing that. I would imagine a lot of people would have taken some profit at the highs there. Still expect more upside, but we might go through like a prolonged correction. Maybe until we see Bitcoin break out, we might not see XRP do anything. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with crypto. Still very, very bullish in general. Bullish from Bitcoin despite the range, but I do think we'll see price break higher. And even if Bitcoin does break to the downside, I don't think that's such a big red flag. We've still got really strong areas of support where I would imagine a lot of buyers will step in and take price higher. So even if you do rate to the downside, I still see it as a very bullish market. As long as we don't aggressively sell, if it's a kind of a slower corrective move down, then yeah, I expect us to push. But yeah, that's kind of my take on crypto right now. Still very bullish in general. In terms of my focus going into next week, it's still very much with the yen pairs and USD pairs. I think that's where, generally speaking, we're probably going to see the most moves. Well, not necessarily the most moves, but the cleanest move in general. Other pairs have just been very, very corrective and haven't really provided much opportunity. I think for me going into next week, if I can see some pullbacks in dollar yen, I'll be a very happy man, especially if you can take out the low there. This one ticks my boxes very, very well, especially if you break the low. Still seeing a lot of momentum, breaking structure at the same time, consistent lower highs, left behind a really powerful level of support, which now we turn resistance. That looks like a really nice area to take a short. and there's a lot of distance to the downside should we see the bigger move. Again, I won't be looking for this move in one go, but it's always good to try and leave positions to run for bigger moves, because those small positions can do a lot of heavy lifting. You never know, you leave that trade to run, it could pay for 2 previous losses that you took just by leaving positions to run. Of course, I'm not saying do that all the time. There's times where you should take your profit and run, and there's times where it makes sense to trail, or it makes sense to leave positions to run. In this case, if you do break support there, it does make some sense, so I would do. And pound yen, euro yen, these guys will be the ones I'll be looking at a lot as well next week. I think in terms of probability of the setup forming, I think it's a little bit higher than dollar yen. So I'm only trading these ones, but the yen basket looks poised for a break to the upside and a push back to 7,200, which is up there. So if you can break the high here, break that resistance on the daily chart, get some pullbacks afterwards, I feel like there'll be some really nice trades there. Excuse me, my waist is a little bit sore. But yeah, expect a big push to the upside, and of course all the yen pairs will see some big moves to the downside as well. So that is really where my focus will be next week. What's up, Morgan Doug? Hope you're doing well. So I say Morgan Doug. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. How many pairs are you trading? Well, on my radar, I've got about 30 pairs which I'm looking at. So yeah, I look at 30 different markets, which is probably going to go up this year. I'm going to start looking at oil, some more indices as well. Might add another metal to the plate as well. Because all I'm doing is looking for the best opportunity I can find, and that might come from a major pair, might come from a minor pair, might come from an indice, might come from a metal. I'm not really too concerned. Done a lot of testing. My edge does work on multiple markets, so I don't really see why I should limit myself, especially on the time frames I trade as well. Afternoon, Antonio. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Euro NZD, before you go, okay, we'll take a look. So yeah, Euro NZD, I'm looking for a really big move to the downside for this one. It looks like we're finally getting the breakout of that range. I would like to see a bit more momentum before looking at some shorts, but in my book, we've had a big range over here. Price has been respecting the high of that range pretty well. We've now broken out of this consolidation, or at least we're pointing to break out that consolidation. We can still very much close back inside, so when we get too excited just yet. But should we see momentum sustain, I'm at least looking for a push into the 50% of this range, which is just eyeballing it around there. About the fifth, oh, I can't see. There we go. So 50% around there. So I would say that becomes a nice target around 1.79. And then I'll be expecting a push back to the lower end. But for now, we're just focused on the middle. So yeah, nice consolidation. Looks like price is about to break through the floor of this. I would like the breakout to be a little bit more impulsive before I would look for some pullbacks. Doesn't have to be as big as that, but I would like us to pick up the pace a little bit, just to really show me that, okay, this is a breakout and price isn't going to jump back inside in the next up move. But yeah, a retest of the low here at 1.825 looks really good, and some shorts back into 1.795 would be the expectation, or at least back into the swing low. Let's say if we put the low here, and that's where we pull back from, that would of course be the next target. So yeah, that's what I'll be expecting for USD. All right, take care, everyone. Have a good one, my man. We'll chat to you next week. Okay, nice. Thoughts exactly. Nice. No problem. Happy to help, Antonio. So yeah, very bearish in Euro NZD. Euro Aussie, same outlook as well. Looks like we're clearing the range as well. It wasn't as clean as Euro NZD, or potentially, but it looks like we're clearing the support as well. So I'm looking for another lower high, hopefully on the retest of that area, and then some more shorts. And I've got similar targets for this one too. So very bearish on those currency pairs. Hopefully some nice pullbacks next week, and expecting a lot more downside as well. But yeah, guys, we have reached the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Appreciate you guys joining me on the stream, leaving the kind messages, chat with myself, dropping a like on the stream. It does really help out. So I do really appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. If you haven't done so, please be sure to do so. It does help out. Subscribe to the channel whilst you're at it. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link in the description below. You can find updates there, more information about Elevating Traders. You can join the community, chat with myself, other traders there too. So if you are interested, go check it out. Completely free to join. Links in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, I will be live every day next week as always. So looking for analysis, tune in. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come and say hi. But guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Of course, the weekly analysis will be out Saturday as always. So if you're looking for some guidance, or you're just looking to see what I'm thinking going to next week, check out that video. It will drop on Saturday. But guys, have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.